Hey everybody, welcome back to Pete's Classic Cycle, and today we've got something very, very special, the red 1975 Kawasaki H2. And as you can see, we're not at my house, we're not at my usual shop. I'm actually at a friend's place, and he was kind enough to let us check out this bike. He's put so much time and energy into this thing, and I'm just here for the most important, or funnest part at least, the first start. So I'm gonna bring my friend Brent in here, we're gonna go over the bike in detail, and fingers crossed, this thing will fire up.
Hey Pete, thanks so much for coming by today to help me do my first initial start on this H2 that I managed to pick up last summer. I got a CVMG ads I get every morning, and one morning at 7:30 I saw this ad for this H2, and I've been looking for a 69 H1 like I used to have for a long time and haven't been able to find one. So I called the gentleman who owned the bike, who wasn't too far away, at 9 in the morning, and I said, "Can I come see your bike?" He said, "Sure." "What time?" I said, "How about right now?" Anyway, he said 11 o'clock. I went to see him. The bike was in major pieces in his basement and had been there for 10 years when he last moved. The movers had moved it into the basement. So the front end was off, the back end was off, the engine was out of it, the tank, all the trim parts were off. And anyway, I made a deal with him, which was, I thought, fair, and I worked on it over the winter. But at the recommendation of Pete and another friend, Tim Murray, even though I'm quite capable of building lots of engines, I took the engine to Paul Gast at Fast by Gas over across the river in Buffalo, New York. And I said, "Pete, just go through it and tell me what it needs and fix it." The bike's only got 4,400 original miles on it. It's even got the original witness marks on some of the bolts.
Wow.
And I left it with I left it with Paul, and he did a fantastic job and tweaked it, and I'm glad I took it there because it had things like bent connecting rods and gears in the second gear into transmission was all jammed up and a number of things, and it had been previously bored 300 miles ago but had not been done correctly. So everything is new from the top down to the bottom end. The crank had to be done, of course, because the seals had never been touched. Anyway, I assembled it over the course of the winter, and I've been waiting for some nice spring weather to start it. And Pete graciously accepted my offer to come give me a hand to make sure nothing blew up when we started up. And I guess that's about the story. It's a beautiful bike. I'm really happy with it, and the work that's been done has been bar none. And I don't know if there's anything else I need to tell you other than I went through the whole bike and serviced all the bearings, new brakes, new everything.
Oh, thanks a lot, Brent. Yeah, this thing is, you don't see 75s pop up too often, especially in that beautiful red maroon color, and I'm happy to be here. So I guess it's time to let this bike speak for itself. We've already got some of the air intakes off, kind of ready to fire it up. We've found one fuel leak that hopefully we fixed. There's nothing left now to do other than kick it over.
Well, let's go.
All right.
We'll see if she starts. We'll try and get her going with just what's in the bowls. Okay.
Now, I should mention, being a brand new build, we do have a bit of mixed gas in there.
I do.
And I know you went through all the preliminary checks, so if anybody's watching wondering why you're not doing XYZ,
yep,
all that stuff is done. We're basically just here to start it.
Yeah, all the oil lines are primed, and we also primed the feed line for the oil reservoir.
Perfect.
So hopefully this will work. Firing on 2.
On 1.
On 1, yeah.
Just the right. Pass me a spark plug wrench. I'll start pulling that stuff out if you want to do the fuel, and you always got to check spark, fuel. We know it's got compression. You can feel that in the bottom of my foot. So
lots of compression.
Yeah. So we got 1 out of 3 check marks. Now let's check the other 2.
Spark here.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah. Spark.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So all 3 coils, all 3 plugs.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a fuel issue.
Oh,
so it was 1 and 3. Yeah, because center's still cold. Left is warming up. This is where all the haters online say, you didn't do this or you didn't do that. Yeah, so we've got 1 and 3 going. 2 was still cold, but Brent's side saw it starting to puff. So I'm thinking this time I might just keep it running a little bit longer, see if we'll encourage that cylinder to start going.
Oh, we'll check them. Well, this is 104.7.
Yeah.
See, 50, 60, 109, 113. Wonder why it's so much cooler.
So, update on the situation. We've got fuel in all the carbs, we've got spark in all the carbs, we've had them all firing, but the center cylinder is still cool. But when you hit the enricher, it fires up and starts to warm up again. So the next plan of attack, take the center carb out, check the pallet jet. It would make sense if at idle, if the pallet jet was plugged, that cylinder would essentially be dead, not allowing the header pipe to warm up. So go ahead, get that carb pulled out. Hey guys, sorry, Pete here. Just gotta say a quick thank you to both Rick's Motorsport Electrics and SPECTRO Performance Oils for their amazing support of my channel, and most importantly, all of you for supporting this channel, following along on my amazing motorcycle journey. So again, thanks to Rick's Motorsport Electrics and SPECTRO Performance Oils. Now back to the video. So in case you guys are wondering if this is normal for a first start, these old bikes can be kind of finicky at times, and just because everything's fresh and rebuilt doesn't necessarily mean it's going to want to cooperate. Like I was saying, these bikes, they need a bit to warm up, a bit to wake up sometimes. You know, they're pushing 60 years old, and similar to waking up a 60-year-old man off the couch, sometimes they need some motivation to get up and go. So that's what we're doing now. Again, just going through all the checks, and it's very important to go through these checks kind of systematically. Don't just start jumping at the carbs or jumping at the plugs. Go through them step by step. That's why, you know, we confirmed the carbs have fuel, confirmed the plugs have spark, and now we've got to confirm once again that the jets are cleaned. It is all part of the hobby. Okay, firing up the H2, take 5. So we cleaned out the center cylinder. The bowl was filled with 2-stroke oil from priming the lines, which I suspect might have plugged the pallet jet. We also discovered that all of the pilot screws were in a little bit too far, which again would affect the idle, which makes sense why we had to crank all the idles up just to get it to run. Again, these are all the little checks, all the little things that you might miss or things you have to go through when starting up a bike. So with that said, we checked all 3 carbs, all the idle screws, all the pilot jets. Now, hopefully, it'll run. It is, yeah. Yeah, and without that airbox, it's gonna
Stick the airbox on too, it's gonna richen up air.
Yeah.
Listen to that. Music, man.
What do you think, Brent?
I think it's awesome, Pete. Thanks for your help. What a great feeling to get this thing running.
Man,
That's awesome. I really appreciate your help.
this is the best.
Yep.
I get all the joy from starting the bike and I didn't have to pay for it. This is the best.